Welcome to tutorial number 6 in my absolute beginners Hearthstone tutorial series. This is series is going to take you all the way from the very basics to some advanced deck play in the future. And right now, today, we've covered some of the basics and we're going to be putting it all together in this final tutorial level. So pull up a chair and let's play Hearthstone. Okay, so in this tutorial, we are playing Illidan Stormrage, who is a legendary card in the game that hopefully you'll find out later. And in this tutorial, like I said in the intro, we're going to focus on putting it all together, and whether it's mana, whether it's card advantage, whether it's when to hit the face and when to kind of exchange minions. We're going to be just kind of putting the whole package together and talking about how we're going to be playing matches in the future in other modes. Now, turn 1. We haven't got anything we can play. And actually, this is really common in Hearthstone. And don't be scared of the end turn button, especially early on. It happens. You don't get the right a lot of the turn 1 minions aren't really all that powerful anyway. And if you put loads of turn 1 minions in there, that means you can't put some turn 3 or turn 4 minions in there. And it doesn't matter most of the time. There are some decks which really specialize on going really fast, and they need things on turn 1, but don't feel bad if you're flicking end turn, and you will end up with many matches where you guys you press end turn for the first couple of turns and neither of you play because you're all waiting for your future minions to come along. Now, he has played a weapon, which is the first time we've seen these in the tutorials. And I'm sure if you have been playing the game, you've seen weapons used against you. They're a bit like spells, except you can normally use them multiple times. For example, this one could have been used twice and it does 2 damage, but the kicker is you take damage when you use them. If you hit a minion. If you hit the opponent's face, then you don't take any damage, but if you hit a minion, then you take that damage. So again, if you think about what we talked about last time about using health as a resource, you can make that decision and kind of think, right, so am I okay to take this 4 damage? Am I okay to take this 3 damage? And normally, if it's a good exchange and it helps to protect your minions, normally the answer should be yes. Normally you can take that damage. It's only when your health starts to get low or if it's a really big whack that you need to kind of start going, I'm not so sure about this one. Now, here's one of those situations where there's a decision to make. Do we fire blast this and take it out, but then that leaves us with nothing on the board because that's going to cost 2 mana? Or do we play our minion? Now, there's an argument for both. In Hearthstone, there isn't, I don't think, ever the right play. There's just the play that has advantages and disadvantages because so much of it depends on what he's got in his hand and what he's going to do next. You could do the right play, but then he has the wrong cards and that destroys you and things like that. So you just got to kind of work through what you think the potential advantages and disadvantages are. In this case, I am going to play the River Crocolisk, and my logic for this is he can't kill it with just the minion and he can't kill it with just the weapon. He'd have to use them both unless he's got other spells and things, but that will then finish off that weapon, and it will hopefully finish off that minion as well. So I've got rid of the weapon, which should protect my other minions a little bit, and I should have gained some kind of advantage out of that because I've got rid of kind of 2 cards for one of mine. So, and there we go. So he's hit it with the weapon, hasn't killed it off. Let's see what he plays here. It's Flame Burst. Wham, 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 wham. And there we go. So he had to trade off there. Luckily for me, he didn't play another minion. But we kind of used a higher health minion to try and turn the board our way. Now, I wouldn't normally play a charge minion out onto a charge minion out with nothing to kill, but as there is absolutely nothing on the board, you might as well kind of start somewhere. Of course, this guy is very vulnerable with that little 1 health there, so we need to just hope that he doesn't kind of play a spell or a charge minion, and we can try and protect this, because the damage is good, but the health is bad. And one of the things you will quickly find out in Hearthstone is that normally, not always, but normally, health is more important than attack, which is why cards like Boulder Fist Ogre with its 6 attack and 7 health are brilliant because they survive so long. Or the Yeti with its 4 health and with its 4 attack and its 5 health, because it can suck up a load of these early minions and survive. this is why you know, those minions are so strong. Now, what I want to talk about here is playing on tempo. We've mentioned it in a previous video. You know, we should be playing, hopefully, in an ideal world, something small on turn 1, something slightly bigger on turn 2, something slightly bigger on turn 3, something slightly bigger on turn 4, etc., etc., etc. Now, the logic behind this, or where this is going to come into the fore, is right here. He has played 2 small minions, and he's still got a small weapon. You know, and altogether, there's a lot of damage there. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it's a lot of cards, and it's taken him a lot of mana to put it there. I've got a turn 4 card, Ascension Shieldmaster. Now, this is a bigger minion, and it's actually going to take up everything he's got to get rid of that one big minion. Because effectively, if I play it, I'm on tempo. I'm playing, you know, I'm using up all my mana to put out a bigger minion, whereas he's still kind of mucking about with the little smaller ones. And you'll find as you play this game that you'll find as you play this game that when you can get those bigger minions out, they really can be game changers. They'll either take maybe 2 or 3 of his cards to take off, or he'll have to use a kind of big, powerful spell to defeat it. But you don't want to be putting out loads of little small ones unless there is a good reason to. And sometimes there is. Sometimes there is. You know, maybe the mana doesn't quite add up, or maybe you're worried about a certain card, or, you know, something like that. But as you can see there, that bigger minion we put out sucked up everything that he still had left there on the board. Now, when you've got a big empty board like this, you then need to kind of think, well, what are you going to put down? You know, what are you going to put down? Are you going to put down a 4/4? Deals a bit of extra damage, costs 5, picks up the mana. Are you going to put down a load of little kind of small ones? Are you going to kind of ping the face? And normally, and like I said, situations, etc., normally on this occasion, you'd want to put down something reasonably big, or something big and something kind of small to kind of go with it. But in this case, let's put down the Nightblade. It's got good attack, it's got good health, and hopefully anything he puts down, this will be able to deal with it, or this along with the charge minion or the Fire Blast. Because remember, we've talked about in the past planning for the next turn as well. So I'm thinking here now, what could he play next turn? Well, he could play a big minion. How am I going to deal with that? Well, I've got 4 attack there. I've got 5 attack there. I've got 1 attack there. You know, instant damage that I can get. So I've kind of planned out what I could do if he does certain moves. I'm prepared for the eventualities. And you can kind of see that we're winning this game, because count the cards that I've got here. Card advantage. Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the bottom, and I've got 1 on the board. So that's 6. I've now got 6 cards altogether. And he's only got 3. So, and normally in this early to medium stage of the game, you're trying to use up their cards more than you're often trying to use up their health, because if they're top decking, and that means top decking means, you know, just playing the card that comes off the top, they've got no choice. They've only got that 1 card to play, and yes, they might get lucky, but they normally won't. So, you know, you can see which way a match is going normally by what kind of card advantage you have. So let's see how he can respond to this. And he's played another weapon. And he's yelling at me when he uses it. This weapon is a huge weapon. It's killed the minion. He's got a good deal out of it. But remember the downside of the weapons. Whenever he uses that weapon, he takes the damage as well. He's now down on 12 health, and most of that damage he took by hitting our minions over and over. Now, look at what the opponent has. He has got a weapon which does 4 damage. We have a taunt that has 5 health, which means he can't kill it. Or another way we could look at this is taunts stop weapons. You know, he can't use his weapon to hit my face. A spell can. A spell can hit any minion or or your face, but a weapon can't. And if I was to put this taunt out, it would block that weapon and, you know, waste a whole bunch of its damage. So that would be an effective play as well. Now we've got 6 mana to play with here, so we could go 1, 3, 4 perhaps. And I think that works as a play. So we're going to put that down. Hopefully we'll suck up the weapon. We'll put the Magma Rager down as with the goal of doing some damage next turn. And I'll use this one. I mean, I don't need the 2 health here, so I'm not putting this down with the idea of, oh, good, let's get 2 health for me. I'm putting it down actually to try and get this 2 attack and put it behind this shield. So let's see how he responds to that. So he uses the weapon, and that was a good deal for us because he used 4 damage to kill a 2 health minion. We didn't get much damage out of it, but it was okay. He has played out a bigger minion and 2 of his little ones, and now we have various options. On the board, we've got 5, 6, 7 damage. Plus, we could add here another 5, which takes it to 12. So close. If only if we could play our hero power as well, that would be the end of the game, but it's not. So let's think sensibly. I could play a big minion here that he would struggle to deal with. And that would be a brilliant minion to you know, when we're kind of exchanging, because that high health would be very well protected. But I think we're getting fairly close to lethal here. So I think the better play, and a play that uses more cards here, is going to be to play the Taunt out to protect these 2 minions here. To play the Arcane Explosion, which is going to remove 2 of those attacking minions, and then to strike the face. Because by putting out that Taunt, we're protecting those 2 other vulnerable minions, and we're setting up for lethal. And we should have this game because we've got 5 damage from this charged minion, we've got 1 damage from here, we've got these additional minions on the board. You know, we've got lots of way of doing this damage by doing favorable exchanges, by trying to keep control of the board all of the way through. We have put ourselves in a position where hopefully we can take this game home. And actually, you know, we have. Let me just backpedal a little bit. If this wasn't right at the end of the game, it might have been better to have played out the Boulder Fist Ogre, because if you look at the board right now, he's kind of turned it around a little bit. Like, he has more minions than me on the board right now. And if this was a situation where I actually wanted to do some exchanging, all of a sudden my board doesn't look quite as good, does it? You know, I'd have to kind of, you know, I'd probably have to ping one of these guys off. Both of these guys would die. I'd have to put out the ogre, you know, but it starts to look a little bit more shaky. So look carefully at your opponent's health before you decide to just strike face rather than exchange. But as it is, oh, happy day, we shall finish off our opponent with our reckless Rocketeer. And with a big boom, that is it. Our absolute beginners tutorials are done. But don't worry, I have so much more to tell you. We're going to be looking at certain deck types. We're going to look at how to craft a deck. We're going to be looking at specific decks that you might find out on in the meta game right now. We're going to look at the advantages and disadvantages of certain cards. We're going to look at how you can defeat the other characters in the tutorial missions. We're going to look at Naxxramas. We're going to look at Arena. You know, there is loads more. So if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button right now. And if you're not already, come and join us over on twitch.tv/TheAdiposeTV, where we can chat and interact live with me and with the posse as well. Thanks for watching. You have been fantastic, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.